Well, folks, the end of the year is shortly among us, and one of the few games that I'm actually really psyched for in 2010 is the remake of Pokemon Gold and Silver called Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Yeah, those names are pretty stupid, but the Pokemon series is a very, very treasured series for me because I grew up with the Pokemon fad in the 90s when I was a little kid, and thus, Pokemon really got me into gaming in the first place. So, as an honor to the entire series, I'm going to go over all four generations of Pokemon and share my thoughts. Now, this is going to be the normal series of Pokemon, not any of the spin offs, no Mystery Dungeon, no Pikachu doing gymnastics or any of that crap. Because, really, out of all of the Pokemon spin off games, only the Stadium series, which was really an expansion pack anyway, and Pokemon Puzzle Party, which is actually a pretty good puzzle game, were any good and really worth your time. I've heard Pokemon Snap is good too, but I haven't played that one, so I wouldn't know. But anyway, let's get on with talking about the series. The game started with Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow on the original Game Boy. Now, these games are, of course, the basis for the entire Pokemon series, and thus they are worth noting and being respected. But then again, since they are the basis of the series, they also haven't fine-tuned a lot of the things. First off, there's only 150 Pokemon. While these Pokemon are definitely the most classic out of all of them, there's still only a few of them. I actually like most of the Pokemon from Gold and Silver, and a few of the Pokemon from Ruby and Sapphire are pretty good as well. Haven't really found any favorites when it comes to Diamond and Pearl, though, which kind of shows my opinion of the entire series right there, but regardless. However, the battle system in this game is probably on the lesser side of the good thingness of the entire series. You see, here the battle system is incredibly frustrating when it deals with certain types, most notably the psychic types. If you've played a Pokemon game competitively in the Red, Blue, Yellow series, you will know that psychic types are bitches, especially Alakazam and Mewtwo. These guys are the cheapest things ever. Bug types in this version suck, and there are no ghost type moves that are worth anything either, so basically the psychic types will own your ass. Also, the special stat, which uses attacks like water, fire, psychic, those things, hasn't been split yet. So Mewtwo with a 400 special stat can resist attacks just as good as he can use them. So the legendaries are super cheap in this version, as well as being incredibly powerful. But regardless, it still is the basis of the Pokemon series, and still has a lot of nostalgic charm for me. But if you have to play this game, I'd recommend getting Fire Red and Leaf Green, which I'll get to in a minute. But then you've got Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Now, Pokemon Gold is one of my favorite games of all time. It's not the best game in the Pokemon series, but it's still my favorite, if that makes any sense. Nostalgia does a lot here, because Pokemon Gold is my childhood. This is the only game, one of the first games I managed to beat all the way through, and it's the only Pokemon game where I've given a shit enough to raise a Pokemon to level 100. So this game really takes some of the aspects of Pokemon Red and Blue and really brings it up. There's like 5 steps forward here when it comes to gameplay. First off, they split the special stats, so now Pokemon are a lot more balanced. Bug and Ghost type Pokemon have been given a real boost, so Psychics aren't overpowered. Plus, they introduced the Steel and Dark type Pokemon, which are really cool, and they haven't added any new Pokemon types since. They should do that. It'll add a little bit more variety to this whole entire thing. And then they also introduced the Pokegear, which had, radio, and it had the phone. It had all this cool stuff. And it let you refight trainers again, which is really good because fighting trainers gets you more XP than fighting wild Pokemon. The new region, Johto, is probably my favorite region out of all of them, just because it is, and it also included the entire Kanto region from Red and Blue, which makes it the biggest Pokemon game out of all of them, which is freaking awesome. I don't see why they didn't do that. With the DS version, and especially with its laziness when it comes to its design, they could have fit all 4 worlds in there, but nope, they didn't. Johto is a freaking awesome region, and being able to connect back and forth is awesome. But however, there are a few flaws, mostly that you can't move around fast until you get the bike, and the bike really isn't that fast either, so trying to walk around the world is kind of a chore. And also, the legendaries in this one are kind of lame, except for, the 3 legendary dogs are really lame and are a pain in the ass to catch, too, for all of that effort, and they end up being lame. Ho-Oh and Lugia are so overrated that it's not even funny, and then even then, they don't even look that cool. Well, I mean, they look kind of cool, but I don't know. Something about Ho-Oh just looked weird to me. But in general, the game is really fun. Also, it has my favorite Pokemon ever, Typhlosion. You kick ass. Yeah, take that, Charizard, egotist. Anyway, well, not my favorite. They still evolved the series a little bit more in later installments. It's still probably the best out of all of them. But the one with the best battle system out of all of them is definitely Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Fire Red, and Leaf Green. Wow. Whew, that took a breather. But anyway, these games really got the battle system and really perfected it. The introduction of the special skills that each Pokemon have, like flying Pokemon who aren't flying type don't get hit by ground moves. That really niched the Pokemon battle vibe. It's the best Pokemon battle system out of all of them. I have to say that. And the only problem is that these game worlds are freaking ridiculous. Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire cutting out half of the Pokemon that have been in the previous series has just always pissed me off. Always has, and they'll never forget it. And you want to know why? They say that it's because you can't transfer data from the Game Boy Advance cartridges to the Game Boy Color cartridges, which is technically true. But then again, you have to buy like 50 different Pokemon games in order to get all the Pokemon in these new versions, which is kind of annoying since you're spending a whole crap ton of money for this kind of thing. But nevertheless, it's got the best battle system out of all of them, which I guess is what really matters. But then we've got Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum. Oh god. They ruined everything that they had in this. First off, the world and Pokemon suck. You cannot relate to anything in this world, and the Pokemon just look weird. Most of them look like blobs of ew. Oh, man. But then they ruined the battle system. You want to know why? Because in the second and third installments of the games, they try to make it as balanced as possible. Of course, some Pokemon are going to be better than others, but in the third generation, everything was mostly balanced. However, in the fourth generation, they decided to screw up how the entire battle system works. Instead of types being used by attack and special, specific moves are. So now Alakazam can use a high-powered fighting type move with a special stat and completely own everyone. This really, really, really is irritating to me. Now, a lot of Pokemon with really great move sets were screwed over by this transition, and the only Pokemon besides that really gained anything from this is Hitmonchan, and it's Hitmonchan. He can use all the Fire, Ice, and Thunder punches good now, but he's still Hitmonchan, and nobody's going to use him anyway. Maybe somebody in Nintendo likes Hitmonchan or something, but whatever. I'm getting way past the point. The point is that Pokemon Diamond and Pearl really just took what was good about Pokemon and kind of took it back a step. Am I still excited for Heart Gold and Cell Silver? Yes, because, as I said, Johto is probably my favorite Pokemon world, and even with the butchered battle system, I'll probably still have fun going through that world. But if they are making a Pokemon 5th generation. I know, everybody collective facepalm on 1, 2, 3. But when they do make the 5th generation, I have to say that they should just reverse what they did with the Pokemon Diamond and Pearl battle system crap. Now, are there things that they could add to this series? Yes. First off, have the entire Pokemon world be in there as opposed to just one measly continent. 2, they better have some decent graphics this time. They can do 3D on the DS, and they better. And 3, just make it fun again, because for some reason having 500 Pokemon to collect, it seems more tedious than fun anymore. I'm ExandShadow. Bye, everybody.